Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Evan Coleman, and today I'm going to be talking about social media addiction amongst US teenagers. I am specifically making this presentation out to our policy champion, Dr. Raymond Kilmer III, who is the district superintendent of Oswego City Schools. So to get started, I just want to give a background on social media addiction amongst US teens. This is a growing issue that has specifically grown drastically over the last 5 years. Peer-reviewed studies show that 46% of US teenagers report near continuous internet use, and 36% wake up at night to check their devices. This has nearly doubled since 2014, as 11 years ago, only 24% of US teens reported near continuous use. Now, this use of social media has been shown to contribute to lower academic performance, reduced self-esteem, chronic sleep deprivation, and those in the highest category of social media use have demonstrated poor mental health qualities. Now, when we're looking at contributors to this social media addiction, there are several factors at hand. Looking at the specific market failures, we have vulnerable individuals not protected, which in this case would be the US teenagers who don't have the developmental capacity at this point in their life to understand the harmful outcomes and the predatory algorithms used to cycle onto this addiction. Next is imperfect information. This market failure means that there is not a true representation of the harmfulness of social media and, again, the harmful algorithms that are purposefully made by the companies. The government failure is letting the market decide. This essentially means that the government has not yet intervened to address this issue. And as this plays into the intentional application design, it only benefits these companies monetarily if the use of their social media apps is increased. So there is no incentive for structures put in place to limit the addiction. This type of addiction of social media is similar to other addictions you may be familiar with, such as gambling or shopping addictions, where the dopamine is overrode in the brain. Looking at the key stakeholders with social media addiction, our first would be Mental Health America. This is a nationwide group. Their interest would be high, yet their influence would be low. The reason for this is because they don't have the tangible effect to put real policy into place, but they're very supportive in establishing subcommittees throughout the country for common-minded groups to come together and address this sort of issue. Next is the Digital Wellness Institute. Their interest would be medium, their influence would be low. This company specializes in certifying individuals in digital wellness. Next would be teachers, students, and parents. These are the most closely related stakeholders in this problem, as they are all intertwined in the potential solutions. Teachers would be expected to enforce potential policies. Students directly suffer from social media addiction and can also play a hand in the alternatives. And parents are responsible for their children's health and well-being. So all of these stakeholders would be supportive, and the parents and the Mental Health America have the highest interest. Students, even though they are the victims, we see at medium interest because, like we said, with the vulnerable individuals not protected, they may not be aware that this is a problem. Yet the teachers and the students and the parents have the highest influence. Again, this is because they directly play a hand in the policy alternatives. So in our analysis of the potential alternatives to address this problem, we have a student leadership and engagement initiative. We have structured phone free time. We have a digital wellness program, and we have the status quo of doing nothing. All of these alternatives would take place locally in the Oswego City School District. To address US teenagers, we would be looking more closely at the middle school and the high school. Now, these were all measured against 4 criteria, which were financial feasibility, political feasibility, timeliness, and sustainability. So looking at these alternatives, the student leadership and engagement scored the highest and doing nothing scored the lowest. Some key points here. If we start with the digital wellness program, which demonstrated very strong scores in political feasibility and sustainability, it would be the most expensive program to run, and it would take a decent amount of time to get the program up and running. Looking at structured phone free time, this would be strong financially and strong in a timeliness standpoint, as it would be free to implement, and whenever that time frame is established, it can be up and running. But it does draw on ethical issues. It may be difficult for people to align with what the best time frame is. Maybe some parents don't find this policy to be effective while others do, and we'd be putting teachers in a difficult spot to enforce this type of policy. The best scoring, which is the Student Leadership and Engagement Initiative, scored the best from a political feasibility and a timeliness standpoint. This alternative would be offered to all students, but it'd be a voluntary program. From a timeliness standpoint, other engagement initiatives seen throughout the country take approximately 1 to 3 months to get up and running. It's really as soon as that committee is formed, the meetings can start. From a financial feasibility and sustainability aspect, the finances could be easily controlled if it is an issue. And from a sustainability standpoint, it's really a matter of student leadership turnover and making sure the next group of students coming through is bought into the policy. So, points to consider with the possible alternatives, as we just touched on: doing nothing. We see here the government failure already of letting the market decide has allowed this problem to double in the last 3 years. So to do nothing just shows that the growing problem will persist, and that is a problem for anyone who is addressing this problem. The next, which is structured phone free time, there's a few questions to ask here from an ethical standpoint, as that is the biggest drawback to this alternative. The first question: is justice being violated by removing phone access during a specific time frame to all students, regardless if they possess an addictive relationship with social media applications? Next, it may be difficult for teachers and parents to fully align on timeframes, enforcement strategies, and prevention of students working around the policy. It'd be very unfair if one teacher is very laxed about the policy and another is not. Next, looking at the digital wellness program, it would be the most costly and it would require the most resources. So my recommendation to you, the policy champion, would be the Student Leadership and Engagement Initiative. In this alternative, students will work with school leaders to develop different strategies to address the social media addiction. It's collaborative, it's ethical, it has limited weaknesses, and it allows the school to evolve with the problem. I appreciate you for listening, and see below for the sources that were used to develop the solutions for this problem. Thank you.